Yes, I'm Thomas. Anyway, and this is the new M2. Where is James? I'm sure he'll show up later. Anyway, last time we drove the new M2, it was on the road, and it was the manual transmission. And after a very brief go in the automatic, we realized that maybe because of the longer gearing in the manual and the very peaky power delivery of a detuned S58 engine, that the ZF 8-speed and a racetrack might be the better choice to fully extract the experience and performance out of the new M2. And since we are on a racetrack, we have the added benefit of speed, which makes the car blurry. You're welcome. Very much an M car. It doesn't have the ultra playful nature of the previous Gen M2 cars, but out here right now, with the traction control turned off and the M drift analyzer on, this is a pretty wild little car, honestly. First of all, it is stinking quick. Real proper speed, especially as you get higher in the revs. But it really sings at the top end. It just keeps pulling. It's really powerful. But with the shorter gearing of the automatic transmission, I'm getting a little bit more torque down, and the gears do more for me. It'll still kick the rear out pretty much anytime you think about going near the throttle. Yeah. This is what it's all about. But yeah, with that automatic transmission, this car completely wakes up. The shorter gearing, it's snappier. The manual feels cumbersome and like an afterthought. I hate to say it, but don't get the manual in this car. Either get a manual of the previous gen or get the auto of the new one. That's the way to have it. That said, there is no perfect version of this car because the automatic in this is dim-witted half the time. It doesn't upshift when you want it to upshift. If you get anywhere near the red line, it just holds the revs, shift, and it doesn't. What is it doing? Why does it sit up there? Just shift quickly. And the downshifts are really lackluster and slow. Kind of reminds me of the auto in the new M4. It's the same one. In fact, most of this car is the same. In fact, this just kind of feels like the M4. Just a little bit worse, I guess. It's still obviously a very competent vehicle, but it just feels like less of an M4. To be fair, I did say this in my review at the launch of this car. I said that the new one is better objectively than the old one. I just like the way the old one drives better. It's a little bit more playful, it's a little bit more analog. The steering is better in the old car. The way the car turns in is better in the new car, as in there's more front grip and the front is sharper, but the way the steering feels is worse in this car than it is in the old car. I don't think that this is a more engaging car than the old one. I think, in fact, this is a much more video game-like experience overall. It might be quicker. In fact, it will probably be quicker around this track when we do a lap time. But I don't think that this would be my choice. if I was to buy a little M car right now. Even still, even after driving it in its best case scenario, that is with the carbon fiber roof and the carbon fiber buckets and the automatic transmission and with the Cup 2s that BMW has put this car on for testing today, I would prefer to be driving the previous generation M2. There it is, I said it. What do you want from me?
I will admit, however, that the qualms I had about the new M2 mostly disappeared when I started looking at the car from a perspective that was a bit more sideways.
It'll still do that though. In fact, if you want a 4-seat compact car that will do big skids like that, this is one of the only choices. Or is it?
And I'm James!
He's messed that up, hasn't he?
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that again. We're gonna do that again. And I'm James. And this is the new Audi RS3. The rowdy RS3.
Can you repeat that again?
Oh, yes I can. The rowdy RS3. And before you get excited, Canadians, no, they still don't sell them here. I'm sorry for the tease, but it's a rivalry told throughout time, so we had to make it happen, and thanks to car enthusiast extraordinaire Ali Khan, we have one here today, at our track. For about the same money as that BMW M2, you can have an all-wheel drive, 5-cylinder, Kyalami Green monster. Last time we had an Audi RS3 on this track, it was an understeering mess, despite the fact that they tried to combat it with very cheeky things. The previous RS3 had fatter tyres on the front than the rear, and they did that to combat the understeer. But it didn't work. This one, they've done it again. And we know, thanks to the last generation, that that setup alone doesn't do it. This one has a very clever diff, the same diff one can find in the Golf R. So it can send 50% of the torque to the rear wheels, and then 100% of that torque to the outside wheel, which means you get to do drifts like that in an Audi RS3. So, yeah, it can still understeer. That was a little bit of understeer, yeah. You basically have to activate the oversteer with the throttle, otherwise it will do the Audi RS3 thing. Unlike that M2 that Thomas is in, which will just straight up throw the back end out. So this is very much trickery rather than fundamental dynamics. But it does make it a much more rewarding drive. This is such a fun car now. Such a fun car. I don't care that the differential is just science and trickery. You don't get upset when you go to a Penn and Teller show and you know it's not real magic. If it does the job and it makes it fun, who cares how the sausage is made? You've got a fun car right here. Oh, did I mention the 5-cylinder engine that puts out over 400 horsepower and sounds brilliant? That 5-cylinder is doing so much of the work. Not only is it rapid, not only does it sound good, but it's getting on with that 7-speed like a house on fire. The 7-speed is not aggressive, it's not crazy exciting, but then neither is the ZF now. So it's not a disadvantage in that sense. The shift logic is good. Using the paddles is rewarding. You can completely control the fun in this car with your right foot. Audi have taken this new platform of the A3, S3 and RS3, and they have just improved it in every single way. And I love to be able to say that because it's so rare. It's so rare that that's the case. What a good time this new RS3 is. What a good time. And I bet I could take an M2 in a drag race, at least in the dig.
Okay, because of movie magic, we're on fresh tires. Let's give it a go. He's gonna beat me off the line. That's what's gonna happen.
Okay, granted, I have less power, but I'm feeling confident because this puts power to all four wheels, and it's lighter, and it will launch like a bat out of hell. And that looks like a bat out of hell. So my money's on the Audi.
Three, two, one, go!
I'm flying! Oh, he did all right there. That was a good launch, but not good enough.
Come on. Oh my God, I'm still losing the rear. 170 kilometers an hour. Okay.
Wow, this thing's quick, and does it sound good doing it?
Okay, that's as good as that car gets off the line, seriously.
You did a lot better than I thought you'd do there.
I don't think this can get off the line any better than that.
No, that
honestly.
was good.
Yeah.
That was good. This did well.
Yeah, that thing just went off. That's exactly what I expected it to do.
It does it quite nicely. It doesn't feel crazy in here.
No, it ramps up.
Yeah.
And then it just goes, right? I have a feeling.
Yeah,
I have
your
a
feeling.
Feeling the
Yeah.
roll race. It's gonna be. He's gone. That's okay. I was just gonna say that I'm gonna win, but I'll just show him.
Here we go.
Three,
Roll race.
2, 1, go!
And the BMW is away.
Oh, he's already shooting ahead. That thing is quick.
Easily. Oh my God, this car is quick.
Oh, he's flying. He's flying.
Oh, you can feel the weight. Oh my. I know it looks like I was jerking the steering wheel there and being an idiot to be dramatic on video, but it wasn't. It was a dip near the finish line, and when the right rear tire dipped into it, it sent it into a bit of a fishtail.
Hello, mate.
Hey, I
You
won
won.
that, and I almost lost it at the end there.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I saw you braking hard. Use the zone, mate. You got the zone.
I want to make sure I get it stopped, you know? It's like the mass of a 747 packed into a compact car.
This isn't much lighter, to be honest.
No,
Not
it
much
isn't,
lighter.
no. Yeah, this is obviously a significantly quicker car in the top end.
So the big question is, when you give it a track to play with,
Yeah.
what happens?
What happens?
Okay, let's take a look at the fastest lap of the M2 first. As usual, our rules for every car are 1 warm-up lap, 3 hot laps, and then a cool down. Now, the M2 was put on the performance tire option by BMW, which is the Michelin Cup 2. That's a very aggressive track tire, so this is the new M2 with its best foot forward. I found that the front grip levels, especially on the Cup 2, was the best of any M2 I've driven. It turns in incredibly well, and in true BMW fashion, the rear differential is telepathic and allows you to easily rotate the car on the throttle. But overall, this new M2 is much more stable mid-corner than the old one. My biggest issues with the car are that you can feel the weight under braking and during transitions, and the brakes themselves are brake-by-wire, and I had a very hard time judging threshold braking with the amount of ABS feedback coming through. But overall, there is no doubt this is a very quick car. Let's watch the rest of the lap. Now, the Audi RS3. As you might notice, this is actually a different day. We'll explain why in a minute, but I can tell you now that this is one of the best handling Audis I've ever driven. I did do a lap with the suspension in the stiffest mode, but as our track is quite bumpy, turns out the soft setting yielded a better time. So, with the trick rear differential, not only does this car rotate happily on the throttle, meaning I could drive it like a rear-wheel drive car, but because of the wider front tires, and no doubt some off-throttle differential wizardry, the RS3 actually rotates under brakes and on a trailing throttle too. It's easy to control and tons of fun, and it's actually very quick around a tight little track like this.
Okay.
All right. So, fun fact.
Yeah.
This timeline.
This timeline
of Thomas and James.
Haven't seen that lap.
Yes, we haven't done the hot lap in this because currently this can be had on Trofeo R's, but we don't have them. They got overnighted by Pirelli. Very nice of Pirelli to do that.
But FedEx screwed up.
Yeah, well, no, the customs. They got stuck at customs.
Okay, sure, customs, yeah.
So we are going to make the effort to come back and do the hot lap, which you just saw.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that Future Thomas was really great driving this.
Really great. And I thought he did such a great job.
We should probably react one way or the other because we don't know what the time is.
Yeah, okay.
Should we show that? We'll throw the time of this up right now. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Whew.
That was...
Considering the Golf,
pretty seriously
Golf
quick,
R,
actually.
and yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed, honestly.
I mean, that is in some heavy company there.
Yeah. All right, we'll do the other one now, right?
Yeah, okay.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I was
That's not a good. That's not a good time.
No.
That's way below the list.
Okay. Anyway, it's the end of the day. We're very tired.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the M2 now.
Yeah.
This is the big question.
Okay. Well, M2 CS did 110.
It did a 110 something.
And
yes.
yeah, 110 something.
And that was on Cup 2s.
And that was on Cup 2, so very fair.
Yes.
This has more power, but it's heavier.
Yes.
So my guess for this is 111.5.
Okay.
Which I don't know how that compares to the RS3. You do.
You guys know already. At this point, you're going like, no way.
Because future Thomas and James made the effort to come back here just to do a hot lap.
Just to do the hot lap on
because otherwise
on the right
unfair.
tire.
Yeah.
So on the Cup 2s, which if you were to buy this car, I must reiterate, you probably will not take the Cup 2s because it's a track-only tire. You're going to take the PS4S.
But it's a no-cost option.
It's a no-cost option. So if you are a track day enthusiast and you want the lap times, then sure, option these tires. It did a 1:11.19.
Oh, so I was close.
Yeah, you were close. That's
a good time.
That's a pretty good time, honestly.
Very good time.
Yeah, like it's a very, very quick car.
Okay, it must be said that this is a huge accomplishment for the RS3. To be that close to the M2 is a massive improvement over the previous generation.
In a straight line, it's insane.
Well, I saw you
Also,
put it
the
in not
M2
a straight line for a long time.
Lots of not straight lines happened today. The M2 CS was a manual. Don't forget.
Yes, it was.
Right, this is the auto.
Okay. But it's certainly M2 quick. No question.
It is M2 quick.
I'm surprised you're not gloating about the fact that you hit a 5-star drift on the drift analyzer.
That's pretty proud
And
of that,
it wasn't a donut. I feel like on the internet, I've only seen people achieve that by donuts.
By doing donuts. Yeah,
you
no,
did
that was
a 300-meter drift.
Yeah. And it was...
That's an M car.
That's the thing. So I'm not going to go on about the styling at this point. I'm not going to go on right now about the things that I don't like about this car. And I will once again reiterate that I would not buy this car. I would buy a used previous generation M2.
Right.
Whether I would buy this over both of those, I'll get to that in a second. But wait, hold on. I just want to say that when you are in the middle of a drift in this car,
yes,
it is pure M. It's like it's like it's like Ken Miles. It's like out there is a perfect drift, right? That's what it feels like. And there's a moment where you're just like, yes, this is exactly what I want. It's everything before and after that I don't really like about the car. But I have to say that it does do that M car thing.
Yes.
That no other car seems to do. And so it has it in there somewhere. It's just not realized.
Don't hit it.
Sorry, car.
This does a weird thing that's not an Audi thing.
It's fun.
Do you see the angle I was getting on the drifts?
90 degrees.
Just go sideways. but it's a bit artificial. It holds you there and goes, I got you, and then brings you back.
It is a really fun car. I have driven it, even though I have not driven it in the hot laps, but I've driven it before. Yes. And here, hand on heart, a BMW guy, here I am, I own one, several. I would buy this over this. What would you do?
Except you can't, because it's not in Canada.
Not in Canada. But
I would get an RS3 100%. In fact, the closest thing we get to the RS3 is the Golf R, which has the same diff and is not as quick, but it's still quick.
Yeah.
So
with a 5-cylinder and I like the looks of it, and I like the interior.
No, that's fair.
I would take this car. Also, you can sit in the back seat, for God's sake.
Yeah, and it did a one smish on the track.
Wow.
So that's like
or
a one smish.
No, but between these two cars, I would buy that with my money. Yeah. I would not buy this, but over both of these, I would buy a previous generation M2.
Yeah, so I'd still get this over the previous generation M2.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.